What do we have here? Oh, this is hilarious to me. And Disney deserves this because over the last 6 years, there's been a change at their company. Now they're having boy trouble. The men aren't showing up to support their content. I wonder why. Studio seeks original IP to win back Gen Z men. They're having Marvel and Lucasfilm struggles. And here's the reality of the situation: the audience is not for men. That's just simple. You are turning Marvel into the MCU. Not enough men in the Avengers. Like, who's leading the Avengers? You're going to have Sam Wilson, who doesn't have the serum. And this year alone, when you're looking at the films that came out, who dominated those fights? It was mainly you had a woman in Fantastic Four. Now, they did work together, so I didn't mind that. But again, people are going to take away from that film, okay, more women superpowers, and Mr. Fantastic used his brain, but he didn't showcase his powers too much. I understand his powers can be boring, but you get what I'm saying. Like, the men didn't really show out. Like, the Thing was toned down in that movie, even though I thought he did a great job, but he didn't get a huge role. He's more like a side character. And then you have Captain America as Sam Wilson, where he talked down the Red Hulk. That's how he won that fight. Gay! Just dumb decisions. And then you had the Thunderbolts, where it was a good movie, but they had to talk down Sentry by getting to his mind. So you don't get a lot of experiences where men are just fighting bad guys anymore. You don't see it a lot. And let's just talk about the mistakes Disney has made over the last 6 years. Remember Thor? They toned down his character, made him softer. Before Endgame, he was a strong, masculine man taking over, and they were showcasing his powers. And all of a sudden, he's softer. He's this nice guy. And it seems like he's more in touch with his feelings. And it's like, okay, he's a man. And we want Thor to dominate and be this superhero we've loved to see. Then you have the Hulk. What happened there? You turn him into Smart Hulk. Now, I didn't mind these choices in Endgame. It made sense. But you didn't go back to the original characters. We saw Smart Hulk in the show called She-Hulk, and that was a disaster. Nobody liked She-Hulk because it was just feminine, and it was a bunch of just lectures about women being dominant. No one liked that.
Stop the cap.
And you have a cast of characters in your Avengers team where it's led by women. Those are just the facts, right? And then you look at a movie like Barbie. The reason why Barbie did really well because it was geared towards women. Like, the movie was for women only. And you would think Disney would learn from those examples. If you would get back to what worked before Endgame, you had the men in the palm of your hands. They were watching your content. They were engaging. They were enjoying what you were putting out. And now all of a sudden, they've walked away. And it's simple. You aren't making content for a male audience. You're focused on a smaller group. You're focused on women only. And here's the reality. Marvel is a boy brand. It is a brand where it makes up male characters. Spider-Man, Wolverine, Iron Man, Captain America. You have the male faces of the MCU. When you're replacing those characters with characters we don't care about, and you're pushing an agenda, and you want the men to still show up, good luck. It's not going to happen. They're turning away, and they don't want to support this garbage. It's woke, and they don't like that. And you have characters they don't care about, and you're just pushing the men to the side. So you expect them to stick around? No. And then you have Star Wars. Remember, Rey was the female-led character as the Jedi Knight. You went from Luke Skywalker to Rey.
Women.
You have male characters in Star Wars. Those are the faces of Star Wars. Again, these are for men. And when you don't focus on your audience, they're not going to just stick around and hope that things get better. They're going to turn somewhere else. Here's what's interesting. I was reading this article here. They were talking about Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty aren't the only ones looking for a prince. Yeah, well, they say they don't need us, so they say, okay, we'll just move on. But the Gen Z men in particular are a lonely, gaming, obsessed group who were hampered in their formative years by COVID-19 lockdowns, and they're trying to use COVID as an excuse, but they just don't understand. They were watching Disney back then. They were watching Marvel. Like, you had them. They were watching all the content. They were enjoying it. But what's interesting is anime has been picking up. It's very popular now. And you look at the audience, I was seeing something where it's 50% of the audience, about over 50% of Gen Z men and also just millennials in general are watching anime. And I believe the reason why they're having so much success with that audience because it's content for everyone. There's something for everybody. And that's what we're looking for. Look, if you want to make female-led movies, fine, but have something for the guys as well. And we don't have that. And they're not even mentioning in this article why things have fallen off.
Stop it. Get some help.
The choices Disney has made. They're not even acknowledging those things. Like, you see, you're seeking new IP and pitches such as splashy global adventures and treasure hunts, as well as seasonal fare-like films for the Hollywood corridor. Here's a problem. You are continuing to push women as your main characters. And if that doesn't change, they're not coming back. And I don't know when they're going to come back. Good luck, because you have lost their trust. Like the Indiana Jones, we know, like, Harrison Ford came back as an older man and people didn't want to see an older guy just get beat up on screen. It was weird. It didn't make money. It lost money. And they're trying to find a way to get the Gen Z guys back, but it's clearly not working. But you look at a movie like Sonic the Hedgehog, the dads who grew up watching Sonic will take their kids to these movies. Why? Because it's for the guys. They want their son to experience those things. Like, I don't want my son seeing this woke garbage from Disney. He's not going to be watching that stuff. It's trash. What is the point of me showing him She-Hulk? There's no point. Like, it's just a waste of my time. I'm going to have him watch the animated Spider-Man series, the Tobey Maguire series, No Way Home. Like, movies that were geared towards men. Why would I have him just watch the Marvels? Like, that was garbage. Like, it's just trash stuff. So, yeah, you just see here, they have to figure out how to get the audience back. And the only way they're going to do that is if they decide to focus on male characters again. If you get back to what worked, then have your men watch your content again. But it might take some time. It reminds me of the situation with John Cena in WWE, where they were constantly pushing him. Vince McMahon was ignoring the audience. There was half people cheering, half people booing. And eventually people just left the WWE because they got tired of seeing John Cena on screen and not seeing other characters get opportunities. When you're not listening to your fan base and you're ignoring them, they're going to walk away. It might take them some time to rebuild that trust. So if you really think that making movies that are only for females in the superhero genre, that is not going to work. It hasn't worked for them. That's why they haven't been making money. That's why they're struggling right now. Even like the theme parks, I've seen stuff about people not showing up. It's just killing their brand. And until they prioritize their IPs with superhero men, then it's going to be the same story over and over again. You have Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby. They failed to meet expectations. And the reason why this failed is because of all the decisions Disney's made, and also people don't like Pedro Pascal. And then you have your actors and actresses going out there and talking about politics instead of your movies. And you wonder why you're struggling.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
It's like they're out of touch, and they don't want to hold themselves accountable for the mistakes they've made. So, yeah, and then haven't made a Star Wars film in 7 years. I wonder why. Now, maybe The Mandalorian will bring some of that fan base back. I just don't see it getting better until they change their ways. If they don't want to change the audience and get back to what worked for them, they're going to get the same results. When you try to cater towards a smaller audience, then they're not going to stick around. And just to clarify, I don't mind having female-led characters, but when you're constantly shoving that down people's throats and you understand the main audience when it comes to Marvel and Star Wars are boys, they're not going to stick around for that. And hopefully you can turn things around, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. I would love to hear your thoughts about Disney trying to win men back. Do you think that's going to work with a Gen Z audience? And do you think eventually they're going to get back to making content where we can just enjoy great stuff from Marvel and Disney, and the men will actually return. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.